Hello and welcome to Finextra TV's View From series. I'm Hannah Wallace and today we're speaking off the back of our recent virtual event, Sustainable Finance.Live. On the call with us now is one of our speakers from the session on impact investing, Anna Poberezhna, CEO and founder of Smart4Tech. Hello, Anna.
Hello, Hannah. This time it's hello, and glad to reconnect with you in the digital format this time.
I know that's right. Normally we'd be face to face in the studio, but it's good to get you on the call nonetheless. And of course, we're talking off the back of the event. It was a successful event. It'd be great to hear from you how it was for you and what was your involvement in the event? What angle did you approach it from? Start there.
First of all, I'd like to thank Finextra team and Richard for inviting me for the second time. And this time I already joined their advisory board, or steering committee as it's called. So I'm that one small drop in that meaningful ocean, hopefully making a difference. And I'd like to point out that, first of all, a Sustainable Finance Initiative is it's all about the values and the knowledge exchange platform. We're really multidisciplinary practicing experts, and I would like to underline and highlight practicing experts come together, exchange knowledge, exchange experiences, and I think this is what really makes a huge difference and make sustainable finance to stand out across many other different initiatives. And I'm very glad to be part of that and contribute where I can and learn and take my notes and apply them.
Because remind our audience, for those who weren't able to get to the event, what does Smart4Tech do? And can you tell us what angle you're approaching the event from?
Sure. So Smart4, we continue to focus and work on the sustainable transformation of shared value chains and activation of ecosystems. So predominantly, we've been looking at the water accountability and water accounting and how we can convert information around water in the water intense sectors and in the high water stress areas into meaningful information for financial sector, whether it's be risk, whether it's be impact investment, whether it be activating and making new asset classes bankable. Basically, we're building a digital ecosystem platform dedicated to enablement of sustainable transformation of global water chains, value chains, and mobilizing climate and ethical investments into that. Current focus is extractive industries, which is maybe not the cleanest one, but which is in high demand of making a much more positive impact than it has done before.
Well, that puts you in a brilliant position then to speak in the workshop in impact investing. What were some of the challenges you were addressing during those sessions?
Well, I'd like to say that both mainstream event and workshop, impact investment workshop, which I participated, they very much complemented each other, because we heard a perspective of the multi-development bank as a EBRD, and then we heard from their basically unbankable asset classes or unbankable projects which are becoming bankable. So it's a perspective from the investor and investee, and it was great to come together, including both banks, private investors, equity, and basically industries that are trying to redefine themselves and the projects. And I think it's a very important task right now to create their impact investment, which is still has a small fraction of their overall green investment, the side of the market of the green investment, which of course is growing every year. And I think the global impact investment market is to be around $502 billion. So it's growing, and I think the future, especially in the post-COVID new normal, climate change and positive impact, not the sectors but dimension, is going to be also a new normal.
All right, well, you've touched on it already there a little bit, but how would you sort of summarize how we can approach those challenges and identify opportunities to create sound portfolios that deliver a return for all stakeholders, and what are those business leaders and stakeholders looking for?
So our approach during the workshop was a kind of to make it concise and make it understandable for everyone. And we used quite a brilliant tool, mind mapping, and where we first of all addressed the question around the foundational value exchanges, where we basically raised the points that incentives in place today aren't serving the needs of the investment limiting investments. Then behavioral challenges from co-investment behavior in VC investment, clustering in deals, and other points. And we were trying also to understand what we're trying to achieve in their relationship, which will determine the costs involved with the value exchange. Basically, we were trying to identify how to build the value exchange, what is the value of exchange, and how to build that connection of the value exchange between their investors and investees. And to be honest, it's a classic exercise where we need to answer 3 questions: why, what, and how. And so their why, we just mentioned it with you. We need to create a new paradigm and to create a market dynamic shift to make businesses more resilient and to create more positive impact and footprint, and basically shift the negative impact that has been done already by their basically the race towards their short-term revenues. We need to work on that, but then we also have the greenfield investments and greenfield opportunities where we don't have legacy systems and we can create new type of bankable projects from scratch. However, we need to educate to bring along with us financial community, which still has their own frameworks, investment frameworks and risk assessment. And now we have new types of risk coming into play associated with the climate change and catastrophic risks and other type of risks which were not part of the previous models. And it makes things more complicated, more challenging. But on the other side, we have right now knowledge of that. As long as we're informed, basically we know now what type of information and data we're looking for. And that information can become that value of exchange that can help us to build a bridge between their investors and investees. So it's answering the question how, and bringing the meaningful type of information, more granular, which would be connecting their regional level of data, of operational data, with a corporate strategy and with the third-party stakeholders, which are not just limited to investors, but also would involve local communities, local operations, local NGOs, and of course connected with their divisions, with their corporate headquarters and international public as well.
I mean, it's by no means a simple topic or task for that matter. You described it really well there. And I think, like you say, the workshop whiteboards, illustrated that quite well. Were there any use cases that came from those workshops that you'd like to help and could help illustrate the point you're making there?
So the use cases there, I think the use case was around the alternative energy storage, but it was not in our specific workshop. And I mentioned a couple of times. Not a couple of times, but I mentioned also my specifics where I explained I was trying to bring a specific example around their water management. And for instance, if we mention textiles, if we mention semiconductors, manufacturing industry or mining, where those production facilities and operational facilities do highly depend on availability of water, and we talk here about water not just as a resource or as a liability or as an asset, but actually water equals license to operate. Water equals peace. Local means economic development for the local community and for the country. And it's a multiplicator factor as well for the risks. So if anything might happen, just multiply by the factor of X and water. And that's a problem. Too much water, it's a problem. Too little water is a problem. Dirty water is a problem, which will result in either stopping the operations, which roughly costs around 20 million a week. And the total industry risk, annual industry risk, for instance, in mining, equals almost 900 billion. So whilst we're talking about the physical risks on the ground, we have business risks, business resilient risks, business operation risk, and of course, if we're talking from the investor perspective, then it's a risk. It's a possibility of stranded assets having on their balance sheet, but it's also what is the value of risk at risk. So suddenly, water turns into their water availability and water demand turns into a much interpreting a very much different definitions for every single stakeholder. For investors, it's risks, and then on the other side, if we understand risk, we can create opportunities around unlocking green and blue, or let's call it sustainable infrastructure, whether it's going to be water treatment facilities or new or other different type of asset classes. For society, it's a basic human need and mean for economic development. But then if we talk about the other stakeholders who are competing users within the same region, like agriculture, for instance, it's a means, again, of production and operation. And as an investor, for instance, who would have a regional portfolio of investments, for them it's crucial to understand whether I invest more in agriculture and what is going to be my risk and return of investment, or whether I invest in their textile or in mining, which operate all in the same area and compete all for the same resource, and what is the risk of having actually not just losing my investments, but what are the other external factors related to climate change and social factors where where local communities can resist to one of those operations would actually put even more risk at losing my investments in those operations, whether it's loan book or whether it's actually ESG investments or ownership of those assets.
Well, I urge anybody who wants to learn more about it to go onto our site and rewatch the recording from your session. But I want to end on sort of a summary and key takeaway from the event for you. What was sort of the positive outcome, do you think?
The positive outcome, so it's we need to pilot things. There is no shortcut. So we need engagement, we need taxonomy, and it's one of their right now key issues existing in the markets. But it's as it's been discussed, it's incremental steps that will that are happening right now in the right direction, and it's important to have that value of exchange that currently is data and right meaningful data, which at the granular level and which is reliable, comparable, and meaningful. And can be interpreted to different parties. So we can connect the dots and we can compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges, not oranges with frogs. I think there will be emergent value of exchanges and there will be emergent platform of exchanges, and that's what we need. And it will be happening on the different levels, whether it's going to be UNEP program and with TCFD reporting with banks on responsible finance, whether it's going to be Finextra and Richard on our level, whether it's going to be World Economic Forum and something else, whether it's going to be Mark Carney and G20 initiative. We need inclusion of broader stakeholders to understand the context of industry, company, region, state we operating in, or industries or sector or companies operating in. So we need to understand local context better, local risks and opportunities better and connect it to their macroeconomic vision and global reality as well. So it's about connecting the dots.
Brilliant. Well, Anna, we'll leave it there. And thank you again so much for participating in our first virtual event, and what a success it was. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, and have a lovely weekend ahead.